So we just witnessed a coordinated attack by the big tech monopolists which are actually the real fascists, have a coordinated attack to take down Parler. In the latest series of attacks, we saw Amazon and their AWS cloud server shut down the server for Parler. Now, I'm not a fan of Parler. I'm going to get into that in a little while, but nobody should be cheering this on. And the thing is, you have the same people who all day long are talking about how Trump's a Nazi or he's a fascist and we've got to stop the fascist, while acting like fascists to then decry fascism. Just like you don't solve violence with more violence, but eventually when you ignore people too much, and I think it was RFK that said, or I forgot who said this, but eventually when people are ignored, when peaceful solutions are impossible, violence is at that point becomes what ends up happening. I'm not saying things need to get violent. I'm just reading the tea leaves on where things are going in all this crazy world that we're in right now. Now, when it comes to Parler, I think one of the craziest aspects of this whole thing is the fact that conservatives who by and large were completely oblivious to the censorship issues up until recently now have all decided to gather around Parler as in terms of being the the answer to everything. Well, ultimately, I've been talking about having other platforms pretty much since the second I started making videos, because the second I started making videos, it just happened to coincide with the exact time I started getting shadow banned on Facebook, which was November 16th, 2016. So, I've been pushing things like BitChute, been on there for over 2 years, supporting them every single month, giving them money in order to help keep, basically help them pay their bills. Supporting things like Library/Odyssey TV, supporting people getting, email list and going old school and getting text messages, which I've been very bad about actually sending out text messages, but it is there in an emergency. So if you guys want to text 71441, the number is, or in the body of the text message, type in LibertyAdvisor, one word, no spaces, and you'll be able to get on my emergency list. If you want to include your email as well, then we'll get on emergency email list as well. Doing things like going on Minds, which was sort of like a crypto version of Facebook. These are all things that I've been supporting for years, but I was not a big fan of Parler for several reasons. For one, I do not support the fact that they've been taken down in this, what I'm guessing is, highly, antitrust type move of all these different, entities coordinating together, except we have a criminal government, so good luck trying to stop anything on that front. But, where are all the liberals when it comes to, the CIA CloudTrack contract, being given to Amazon? How many people do the CIA need to kill, in governments that they overthrow, pretty much including our own right now, that, before people, bitch about that? That's, very hypocritical. But getting back to Parler, it was one of the major funders of it is the Mercer family. The Mercer family had a big falling out with Trump in 2018, where they basically stopped supporting him financially. And so now if I criticize Parler, people are just like, oh, you're just some dumb libtard that hates America and you hate Trump. And meanwhile, one of the major backers of it doesn't like Trump. So, it literally, you have to do like zero homework to pretty much figure that out. The Mercer family also were the ones who owned the firm Cambridge Analytica, which was one of the major, data mining scandals of the whole, Russian collusion and using Facebook in order to swing the election, even though little old me, did about 10% of what the Russians did by themselves. So we got that, aspect of it. And, getting back to Cambridge Analytica, the people are like, oh, well, Parler, promises not to sell our information. Yeah, bullshit. But what they did is, if you wanted to be one of their verified global citizens or something along that nature is what it was called, you had to submit an ID. And so, like your driver's license, and I believe it was front and back that they needed. And so there's been a hack recently where a hacker was able to get 99% of all the basically information from Parler servers before they were taken off, and including driver's license information, including geotagging information, and basically just a whole bunch of things that you'd rather not have a hacker have access to. So in the future, you need to look towards decentralized social media that can't be taken down, because the reason it was taken down is because it could be taken down, and if it can be taken down, it will be taken down, unless you're supporting the current communist fascist regime. And since I have been at this 4 years bitching about this and telling people, especially the Q people, that this is one of the areas that they needed to pay most attention to, it's I think I'm somebody that should be listened to when it comes to the ultimate answer. And I think the ultimate answer is having data that's stored on your own server, that then there's different technology where essentially that data can then be distributed out to let's say different friends or different supporters, different followers, and then they would keep bits and pieces on their computer as well. And so when somebody requests a file, it sort of worked like how, I guess, like Napster would, where it would maybe go through a few different places ultimately to wind up with you having that file. And so there'd be one seed file, or you could obviously you want to back that up as well, but having information on your own servers and then having that then maybe then populate on a social network. I do know that flote.app, full disclosure, I'm friends with the founders and I was the best man at his wedding, that co-best man along with Josh Sigerson, that what they are trying to do is integrate in things like IPFS, which was basically what I just described, integrate in other platforms like library.tv/Odyssey. So it's not looking to make this one big competition where one group rules all, but they are also looking to have decentralized storage applications, and only having a few $100,000 to build out as much as they built out, it's all not going to be there overnight. So people are wondering, hey, how come it's a little slow, or how come it's a little buggy? Well, they're not worth like $500 billion like Facebook is. And I remember being on Facebook in 2004 when it was called The Facebook, and it was completely different now. And they didn't get LifeLog CIA contract money. That's a whole nother issue, where if you take a look at the CIA put out a request for a program that was basically identical to what Facebook is. They called it LifeLog, and as soon as Facebook came on, I think it was February 2004, as soon as they came on board, then the proposal for LifeLog magically went away. So maybe that's me just being a conspiracy theorist, but I would not be at all surprised if that is indeed what had happened. But they are looking at being decentralized. I believe Gab right now, I think it's Gab.ai, that I believe that they are using like Mastodon servers. That's something else. I mean, I'm looking for a good sort of Discord alternative, so please, in the comments, I think someone said it's called Matrix, but please let me know. I mean, I don't know everything, and lots of things are coming about really fast as it comes to the issue of how to get around all this censorship. But going old school is almost going to be like the new school. So you guys have been hearing me talk about forever, hey, I need your emails, I need your phone, and it isn't so I can go and spam you. I think outside of the initial emails that get sent out with the free ebook and stuff, I don't think I've used it at all in the past year at all. And so it's there as an emergency. It's actually not very cheap to send out mass text messages. I mean, it's I forgot what it costs, but it's probably like 20 cents a number or 5 cents a number or something like that. But it you start getting into the thousands of numbers, and it starts adding up pretty quickly, which also did get taken down for Parler. So the tech oligopoly also took down Parler's ability to mass text message people. I've got mine on a platform where it's a crypto guy that I know, and I've got the numbers backed up in case I did get taken down. Same thing, I was using MailChimp, and now I'm using something else, and I've got those numbers backed up as well, just trying to see where these attack vectors are. But I guess luckily, I got so shadow banned right out of the gates in 2016 that I'm still small enough where I'm still way underneath the radar. But I still am contributor for World Alternative Media, where they've come after us very hard, but now it's just blossomed into us having one of the fastest growing BitChute channels that are out there. But it's just you need to start supporting platforms that value your free speech. You need to start supporting individual creators that you think are doing good work, because it's not free doing all this stuff. It does take a lot of time, it does take a lot of money to basically have some sort of professional operation, or even non-professional operation and it's just something that people aren't willing to pay for. So there are several creators where I give a few bucks to every month, or if they're doing something good, I might throw them some extra money in terms of trying to help encourage them. And that's not just a selfish move because I'm a content creator. It's just because I want to see a world where free speech is valued, and that we're not going to be put into some sort of internment camp for having alternative views on things. Many times the right view on things, or almost all the time. So and I saw a bill today where I think it was a legislator out in New York, go figure, that said that you've got all these kids from coming from Trump homes, and that they're my dog's Yoshi sees a rabbit over there, so he's going nuts. And then essentially we might need to have these internment camps for children of Trump parents. Literally an article I saw today. Wasn't even planning on bringing that up, but getting back to Parler, of course, being on the AWS cloud server, of course they're going to come after you because they could, but it's not the answer. Now, unfortunately, it's gotten all this attention that I'm sure when they do bounce back, if they bounce back, they'll probably bounce back and have more funding than ever. But I just do not trust the people behind Cambridge Analytica to not screw me on this. I'm sorry. I've spent a lot of time and energy and effort building up, Facebook 4 years ago to have it all wiped away from me in one day, but I was only really, relevant for 2 months, so I didn't have the chance to get, a big email list or get anything else. But, I just want to let people know that Parler is not the answer. I've been on Gab since it came out. I think it was September 2016, right when I first got kicked off my Facebook page for the first time. That's when I, messaged Andrew Torba and was able to get on Gab. But unfortunately, that's sort of become, not really, I don't necessarily know if it's their own, I don't really think it's their fault, but became just like a right-wing hangout. And so that's why I'm going more towards Flote, because I know that they're going to have they're working towards getting a decentralized infrastructure. I know that the creators are people that are not going to screw me. I know they have the same values that I have, and I know it's not just a right-wing hangout, or it's not just a left-wing hangout. It's more of the anarcho-capitalist, libertarians, people that are usually early adopters on these things, people that have seen the problems, and I think Gab could be good as well. It's just there's only so much time in the day that you can put your effort in, but you should be supporting platforms and people that are having your back. And so if you're watching this and you are more right-wing and you don't care about Cambridge Analytica, then go ahead and support Parler. But I do not think you should be going and giving your ID to any of these social networks, because of course they're going to use that data against you. And even if they aren't going to use that data against you, it's going to be hacked, and it already was hacked. So how much more proof do you need? And I'm sure they had a lot more bucks and funding to deal with than something like Flote. But anyways, I do have a conflict of interest in Flote. I do know the creator, and I bought some of their advertising tokens ahead of time, and a friends and family around, so then that way I can spend advertising on their platform, as opposed to, well, Facebook doesn't even let me. I think they might have just let me again, but for literally the past 3.5 years I wasn't even allowed to advertise on their platform. I'll probably do a little bit of advertising on YouTube and Google to let people know I'm on other places. But I've bought some Minds tokens, and I bought pre-search tokens, which is a alternative to a Google search engine or Chrome search engine. I use Brave browser. I've used DuckDuckGo. These are all things that I do in my own daily life, and these types of changes, when it comes to where we spend our money, means a whole heck of a lot more than who we vote for. So voting for your wallet, that's where it's at. And it's and it's beyond time. It's past time. We're already past midnight on this issue, and I'm guessing if you're this far into the video that you probably agree with me. But anyways, I don't need to make this any longer than it already is. Definitely appreciate everyone who has signed up to be getting these alerts first. I definitely appreciate it. And if you guys haven't seen it, I did have a really impassioned walk and talk with Yoshi in regards to, actually the really passionate one was the last Tim and John show about the end of censorship, or the end of free speech. I wish it was the end of censorship, and the end of the US. Don't watch it with your kids. There were a lot of impassioned F-bombs in that one. There were, also a pretty impassioned plea with my last Facebook post, which is a video called My Last Facebook Post, which I will be getting off of there the day the Chinese agent gets in there. And it's not to, excuse the things that Trump does, but it is, there was a little bit of me that did hope that the Trump people would have gotten it a little bit sooner, in terms of understanding this issue. But I was not Monday morning quarterbacking this. I was putting this out in videos 3.5 years ago, saying that Trump should have left the Republican Party. I made a blog article about it. He should have, and of course, I don't want to kick a man when he's down. I don't think I could have held up to the pressure that he held up to. Anyone that's not a complete globalist, is going to be, pretty much there for destruction. It's just, and I don't need to, bitch about all the same things I was bitched about in the last, Facebook post video, which was what it was called. But anyways, guys, check that out. Definitely appreciate it. And Yoshi, you want to say goodbye to the people? Want to say goodbye? Do I get kisses? Do I get kisses? It is Taco Tuesday, to not to imitate the Jeff and Lucy show. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Remember, that number is 71441. Text LibertyAdvisor, and also get my free book on how it's rigged will be sent to you via email for a PDF as just a thank you. And it's not to spam you guys, it's to put out real information and to be able to tell you, hey, we're over here now, because one of those over here is going to be flote.app. And then, and also another one's DLive. I've been streaming on DLive. But, the answer is the LibertyAdvisorShow.com. I'm going to have everything over there. You can sign up for the email list there as well and not give up your phone number if you don't want to. And that way we can stay on top of things. You guys can get the news first. I was talking about Bitcoin almost before, I can almost guarantee before any other financial advisor, talking about how Trump would win in 2016, and that would be the Russians before anybody else. Had arguably the first fake news list in the world, and even picked the person that won. Only listed one person by name, Paul Krugman. He then won Trump's fake news list a year and a half later, and then also going back to March 2017, predicted that any Democrat going up against Trump would win, and primarily the reason that they would win would be because of not having the election secured. But then that also gets into the fact that, okay, great, we secure election between two bad choices. And not to put anybody down if you voted for Trump, but, odds are the next go around it's probably going to be a globalist like Pence or somebody like him up against another globalist and Kamala Harris. And either way, it's going to be a two bad vote. So it's time we start voting with our wallets. It's time we start getting smart. And it's time for you guys to join my email list, because I want to be able to keep in contact with all of you guys, and definitely appreciate it. But thank you so much. Peace out.